And good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Sky Observers Hangout. My name is Michelle. I'm your host. I'm so glad to have you all with us tonight. And welcome to my backyard. This is suburban Chicago. And so I hope you guys are going to have a great time with us tonight. So I am the Director of Public Observing at the Adler Planetarium in Chicago. I hope you've gotten a chance to visit us at some point. Behind the scenes, we've got Colleen. She's the one who's feeding me the questions that you're asking and your responses. So if you want to say hi to her, she is the one manning our YouTube chat right now. So if you see messages, those are from Colleen. So make sure you say hi to her. So we are coming to you live on July 16th of 2020. Our plan for tonight is to walk you through what you need to know to find Comet NEOWISE in the sky. You've probably heard a little bit about it over the last few weeks. Over the next few days, if it's clear in your area, the information that I'm going to give you should be good for your area and generally for most of the United States. So right now in the Eastern time zone, it is probably dark or close to it or getting there where you are. Here in the eastern edge of the Central time zone, the sun just went down. So Northwest is kind of over that direction for me. And so those of you in the Mountain and Pacific time zones and farther afield, someplace else in the country or around the world, wherever you're joining us from, it's going to be a different sunset time for you. But if you are anywhere even remotely close to Chicago's latitude in the Northern Hemisphere, you have a great chance of hopefully catching the comet. So I'm going to give you some tips tonight on how to find it. Now, one thing I cannot do, unfortunately, but I'm going to show you why, is I can't show you a live image of the comet. But let me show you why. I'm going to switch my camera. And so hopefully this will show up. That is why. I have a very large tree in our neighbor's backyard that is between me and the comet. So I cannot show you a live image. I do have some images that have been recorded in the last few days. I also have my phone handy. We've got a couple of our Adler Planetarium intrepid, awesome, fantastic telescope volunteers who are headed to a dark sky site in Indiana. And so if they get a picture while we're on the air, I'm going to do some magic and get that picture to you. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I've at least got my phone here just in case that actually happens. So if you see me go to my phone, it's because I may be getting a text or picture from one of those guys. So stay tuned on that. Can't guarantee it, but we'll give it a try if we can. All right. So I've seen where some of you are in the chat. I know we've got Danny from Spartanburg, South Carolina. We've got a viewer from Tennessee. We've got, let's see, we have got, I'm checking through the chat. We've got Salem, Virginia. Welcome. So glad you guys are joining us. I know some of my family members are probably watching tonight too, so I expect to see a few familiar names go through the chat. I've got another computer over here where I'm keeping an eye on that. Yep. I see family there. I also see some of our awesome, fantastic telescope volunteers. Now, one quick thing. I realize that I'll get to this as we go on, but I promised Danny from Spartanburg, South Carolina, that I'd tell him when to go out to see the comet, and the answer is Danny, right now. If it's clear where you are, it's going to be a little low. It really, really helps to have a pair of binoculars. It's going to be kind of low in the sky. It'll be a fuzzy thing. If you want to go out and try, that's great. If you want to learn how to do this tonight and then go out tomorrow night, then you should be able to go out and check out where the comet is from your area. But you are an hour ahead of us, and it's already probably pretty dark because your sunset was slightly earlier than ours was Central time. So anyway, so that is a good opportunity for you to go out and see that if you get a chance. If there's any technical flubs, if there's anything that goes wrong, I'm doing this from my backyard using Zoom to YouTube. I've got a work light over here that's lighting me up. There could be a critter that shows up in my backyard. We have skunks occasionally. If you hear me scream, that's why. Nothing terribly out of the ordinary. If the internet happens to go down, well, just keep an eye with Colleen. She'll keep you company until I can get back up. So anyway, that aside, if you're not familiar with the Adler Planetarium, we are located on Chicago's lakefront. We have been closed since March 14th, but we are bringing you online programs, a variety of them, especially starting up in the next few weeks. So please keep an eye on our social media for that. If you feel like donating to us, we would certainly be very grateful for that. It's not necessary. No amount is too small. So that would allow us to bring more programs like this. We're going to be closed for a while. We hope everyone stays safe, be well, and hopefully we can give you a little diversion tonight as we are looking up for the comet. All right, so I know we've got some folks in the Chicago area. So anyone else, if you want to tell us where you're watching from, go ahead and throw that in the chat. Welcome to all of you. Okay, so let's get started. We want to get down to comet business here. So quick thing, what a comet is essentially a dirty snowball or a snowy dirt ball. Think of it as a big dirty iceberg in space. Comet NEOWISE specifically, the main chunky dirty ice ball is about 4 miles across. As far as comets go, it's medium to largish size. We don't have a great idea of the distribution of the sizes of comets, but we know this one is about 4 miles across. For those of you lucky enough to remember Comet Hyakutake or Comet Hale-Bopp, or even Comet Halley. I didn't get to see Comet Halley in '86, but some of you may have gotten a chance to see it. Comet Halley is about 6 miles across. Hale-Bopp was about 40 miles across. That's a really big comet. So anyway, gives you a sense of what to expect for a pretty typical comet size. So comets generally orbit the sun. This one orbits the sun. You probably have heard some kind of staggering numbers for this particular comet. Its orbit orbits the sun about every 4,000 years, a little bit more than. But thanks to the gravitational interaction of the planets on this trip around the sun, that's going to lengthen out its orbit to almost 7,000 years. By the way, just so you know, in case you might hear a little music in the background, there is a neighbor playing the most perfect soundtrack to this evening, in my opinion, which is Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. How much more perfect can you get to a planetarium online show than Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon? I didn't plan that. We didn't ask him to do that, but you might hear it coming through my microphone, so I apologize for that. Hopefully it's not too distracting, or maybe it is. That's okay too. Anyway, so we've got our comet orbiting the sun. It is currently going away from the sun. It passed its closest point to Mercury a few days ago, its closest point to Venus a day or two ago. It'll reach its closest point to Earth on July 23rd. So we hope it will stay about as bright, fingers crossed, as it is now. It's getting farther from the sun, which normally means it might get a little dimmer because it's away from the sun's heat, which is how you get the tail. But we hope maybe as it's passing a little closer to Earth at that point, I mean, we're talking a mere 64 million miles away. I mean, just around the corner as far as the solar system goes, right? But we hope that might help keep it relatively bright. It is not a showstopper like Comet Hyakutake or Comet Hale-Bopp was in 1996 or 97, but it is still nice to have a comet that's at least bright enough that you can get it with a good pair of binoculars, or actually a small pair of binoculars. And if you then know where to look, you may be able to see it with your naked eye. All right. So anyway, fingers crossed that you're able to see it. All right. So now for this particular comet, the most basic rule of thumb is if you can see the Big Dipper, you can find the comet. That's a good way of looking at it. So the next rule of thumb, I'm going to give you a few. Rule of thumb, if you can find the Big Dipper, find the comet. Next, go out starting about a half hour after sunset for your location. You're going to have to look it up because it's going to depend on where you are in your time zone. It's going to depend on your latitude, all that stuff. So look up your sunset time. Start going out about half an hour prior to sunset, or sorry, half an hour after sunset for your location. And the darker the sky, the better. If you're in a light polluted city, that might make it a little harder to see. For the next few days, you're going to need a view that has a kind of a clear view down toward the northwestern horizon. Over the next week, it's going to get higher in the sky, and it's going to move farther to the west. So that'll make it a little easier to see. So right now it's relatively low. I'll tell you how low in just a sec. But that'll give you a sense of approximately what to do. So again, I mentioned the binoculars. They're handy. Once you see it with the binoculars, you can then try to see if you can spot it with just your naked eye. All right. Patience is key. But I'm going to give you some tips so that you can hopefully use those over the next few days and try to find. Now, one thing I can't do, I wish I could, but one thing I can't do, especially for those of you in the Chicagoland area, is I cannot give you a recommended place to go. The main reason for that is we need to follow social distancing rules. Those are going to vary from place to place. Also have to worry about what time parks close and all that kind of stuff. So it's really hard for us to keep track of. So you're going to have to check that sort of stuff out yourself, but stay safe, social distance, find yourself a spot that's clear to the northwestern horizon. And again, over the next few days, it's going to get a little higher. So anyway, give me just a sec. I'm going to pull my light a little closer because it's starting to get a little darker. So I've got a work light here. So give me a sec. There we go. If you see the camera changing brightness, it's just an automatic adjustment on the camera in my computer. So if I look overly bright, that's why. All right. Now that it's all laid out, I'm going to share a chart with you to be able to help you find the comet. So give me a second. All right, you all saw my wonderful title slide, and there we go. So here is a great chart that you can use. So we've listed this as about 30 minutes past sundown in your location. Again, that's when you should start going out. And as it gets a little darker, that'll make it a little easier to see. You want to have it get out of that evening glow from sunset. All right, so today is July 16th. Check out that point for July 17th. And again, over the next week or so, it's going to get a little higher and a little farther to the west. I'll give you actual numbers in just a bit. While you're out, you might as well try to find the Big Dipper, right? You can use that to find Polaris, the North Star. If you poke a hole in the Big Dipper and all the water runs out, it'll fall onto the back of Leo the Lion. That is that constellation off to the left. You may have a hard time seeing a few of the stars in Leo, but that brightest one you'll probably see, that is called Regulus. That is Leo's heart. But I want to give you a sense of what to look for. So this is a picture that I took. Now, the comet really is in this picture, so stay with me. So this is a picture I took on July 5th in the morning. So it doesn't look like much. If you zoom in and I put a little circle around it, the comet is right there. So it was fairly low, again, lower than it will be tonight and tomorrow. So the comet will actually be a little brighter than this. This was a camera shot that I held the shutter open for 5 seconds. Here's another view, thanks to one of our awesome telescope volunteers, Bill Chu. He took this picture in the morning a few days ago, and he took a picture in the evening. I believe it was the evening the night before and then the following morning, I think. And if he's watching, he'll correct me. But so you can see the comet's tail was pointing in a different direction, but the head of the comet is always pointing toward the sun. The tail is pointing away from the sun. So you can see that from evening to morning. How cool is that? And here's a picture I took just a few days ago. Again, doesn't look like much, but we're going to zoom in. I'm going to circle it and zoom in. This is taken from far west suburban Chicago. So the head of the comet is the brightest part. That's the part you'll have the easiest time seeing. Depending on where you are, that will determine how much of that tail you might see. You're going to look for something fuzzy. Stars will look like points and they will twinkle. Planets, which are all out in the morning right now, and Jupiter and Saturn will rise in just a little while here. Planets will not twinkle, but they will also look like points. Comet is fuzzy. satellites will appear to move across the sky. All right, so now we get that all straight as to what's what. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to check to see if we've got any questions. So I'm going to look over here on my computer and I'm going to check. All right, how does the comet's position change through the night? Does it go below the horizon? It depends on where you are. So the farther north you are, the higher up the comet is going to be. I'm going to turn around and I hope you can see this because it's going to get a little dark here, but I'm going to try to position myself. So this is north right here. And so up there is going to be the North Star. So again, I'm going to be totally overexposed in this image, but I need you to see my arm, not my face. So the North Star is that way. The comet is going to be over to the west and down. Okay, so here are some numbers to give you a sense of what we're going to do. Tonight, from Chicago's latitude, the comet will be, I'm going to check my notes and make sure I got it. Let's see, 9 o'clock Central Time tonight. The comet will be about 18 degrees up and to the northwest. I'm going to give you a tip on how to find what 18 degrees up actually means. So Danny in Spartanburg, comet's probably about 15, 12 degrees up for you right now. So to the northwest. So that'll give you a sense of when to go out and where to look. Okay. So what the heck, 18 degrees. What do I even mean by that? I want to give you something that you can use to help you find how high the comet is. Tonight, it's going to be 18 degrees up at 9 o'clock. And tomorrow night at 9 o'clock in the Chicago area, it will be 20 degrees up. So slightly higher. Here's what you can use to find that height. You got your fists. I want you to stick your fists out at arm's length. All right. Your fist, the bottom of your fist to the top of your fist held out at arm's length, and you put it up against the sky. From the bottom of your fist to the top against the sky is 10 degrees approximately. All right. Your thumb is about 2 degrees in width. Your pinky is about 1 degree. So 18 degrees above the horizon is, you put the bottom of your fist on the horizon, all right, and another one stacked on top, that's 20. So just slightly below 20 degrees. So just slightly below, as I'm sighting down my outstretched arms, just slightly below my fist. So that is tonight in the Chicago area for the comet. If you are, I'm going to move my light a little bit because that is really overexposed. So give me just a sec. Again, forgive any technical issues. I've got our garage work light is out here with me, keeping me company. So we've got the comet tonight, 18 degrees up in Chicago. By the way, you can probably hear a car in the distance. Apologies for that. Again, I am definitely outside. So 18 degrees up, 20 degrees up tomorrow. And then as we go toward next week, higher and higher until the 23rd, it will be about 35 degrees up. So 10, 20, 30, that's 40. So about half my top fist height. So that's not bad in terms of height. That should get it above a pretty good number of trees and stuff that you might have in your vicinity. All right. Are you able to see the comet in Houston? Gosh, I hope so. It'll be a little lower for you. So we have to check your latitude. And it'll probably be fairly low because Houston is fairly far south. Let me check Houston's latitude. Doing this on the fly. So Houston's latitude is 29 degrees. Chicago is 42. So take the height above the horizon. That means it's probably pretty close to the horizon for you right now. So you probably don't want to go out tonight to be able to look for it. However, you may want to go next week. And so if it's about 35 degrees up for us next week, getting close to the 23rd, it'll probably be, maybe 20 degrees up for you, give or take a little bit more. That's a guesstimate. So hopefully that helps with a sense of where you might look. So same direction, 45 minutes or so after sunset, but a bit lower in the sky than what we've got here in Chicago. All right. And again, I apologize for that work light. There's not much I can do about that. My camera in my laptop keeps readjusting for the amount of light that it's sensing. So anyway, you don't need to see me anyway. You just need to hear good information about the comet, right? Okay. So one thing I didn't tell you though is where in the Northwest to look, right? The height above the horizon is an astronomy term called altitude. The distance, now what direction it is an astronomy term called azimuth. Now azimuth means the number of degrees from north. 360 degrees, or 0 to 360, so 0 and 360 is north. 90 degrees is east. 180 degrees azimuth is south. 270 degrees azimuth is west. This comet tonight in the Chicago area has an azimuth of 319 degrees. So that means it's about in between west and north, right? So you can basically say it's, let's see, it is, hang on, I have my notes, give me a sec. All right, so tonight it is 41 degrees from north. So north for me is this way. So I can turn my fist sideways, just like I can do an altitude, I can do an azimuth, 10, 20, 30, 40. And so that point there is approximately the azimuth for the comet. And then 18 degrees tonight, 10, 20. So right in line with that big tree. That's where the comet is for me tonight. So hopefully you might have a clearer sky. It has cleared up beautifully here where I am. So hopefully it is clear where you are. I'm going to look to see if I've got some more questions. Let's see. Oh, Lake Geneva. Absolutely. It's basically the same numbers as the Chicago area. Let's see, it is about 8 minutes to 9. So start looking maybe in about 10, 15 minutes. Look toward the northwest, look a little, about 20 degrees up. You might see it. All right, and my camera just went out. So give me a sec, I'm gonna switch cameras. So that's why I have two cameras, in case one of them decides that it can't see me anymore, so it's gonna stop broadcasting. There we go. All right, that was my camera that I had pointed at the tree. So you don't need to see a tree in the dark anymore. So I'm gonna back this up just slightly. There we go. All right. Hope that works for you. Okay. All right, let me check for, let's see, what day was 35 degrees? Oh, July 23rd. So July 23rd in the Chicago area is about 35 degrees. So 35, 37, somewhere around there. So can you see it in Cary, North Carolina? Oh gosh, you absolutely can. So let me check the latitude. So Cary, North Carolina latitude, which is about 35 degrees. One thing I don't remember is Cary in the mountains. One of my favorite places on planet Earth is Asheville, North Carolina. So let's see how close you are to Asheville. Let's see. Not too far away. All right, so you're not really in the mountains. That's good. It is already dark there. That's good. You are about 7 degrees farther south in latitude than Chicago. So the comet's going to be lower in the sky for you, but the azimuth should be kind of the same. So the direction to the northwest should be the same. It'll be maybe 12 degrees up or so for you tonight. So give that a try. Let us know. Let us know if you see it. If any of you are actually able to go out and tell us if you're able to see this tonight. Will it hit Earth? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is going to be just around the corner at 64 million miles away, but that really isn't around the corner. That's me being facetious. The moon is about 250, 240,000 miles away. So this comet is coming nowhere near Earth. So it will not hit Earth. So we would tell you if it was. So yeah, nothing to worry about there. All right. Yes, not in the mountains. Thank you, Cary, North Carolina. So I was looking up on the map. So yeah, it'll be a little bit lower in the sky for you, but kind of the same direction to the northwest. So get those binoculars out and let me know if you can see it. Northern Michigan, for you, it'll be higher in the sky. So the farther north you go, it'll be a little higher. So Northern Michigan, give me a town, Northern Michigan, so I can look it up. High enough to view near Indianapolis? Absolutely, because you're not too much farther south than Chicago. So your sunset was a little bit earlier than ours. So it should be getting pretty well dark there soon. So go out in the next 10 minutes or so, or 15, see if you can see it. Depends on if it's clear. I don't know what the weather's like in Indy right now, but hopefully it's clear for you. And so look to the northwest, look about 15 degrees up and see what you can see. All right, how bright is NEOWISE? So it is, yeah, it was listed as second magnitude. So what that means is that's the average brightness across the whole comet. So that means the head of the comet will be a little brighter, the tail will be a lot dimmer. It's an extended object, so one brightness doesn't really describe what to expect for the whole thing. That's why the head of it will be easier to see, the tail will be harder to see. It's why we tend to take pictures to try to see the tail of that comet. So you may see the fuzzy head and a little bit of the tail, but you won't see big giant tail. So just giving you a sense of what to expect. Oh my goodness, Macomb. All right, Macomb, Northern Michigan. New York City, you guys are a little farther north, I think, than we are. So it'd be slightly higher in the sky. So again, northwest for everybody. Everybody, northwest, okay? Your latitude then determines your height in the sky. If you're near Chicago's latitude, right now, it's about 18 degrees up. If you are farther north, it'll be higher in the sky. If you are farther south, it'll be lower in the sky. San Antonio for you, Austin. So Texas, you guys are a little farther south than we are, so it's going to be much lower in the sky. Better to check next week, in my opinion, when it gets a little higher. Okay. All right. I'm checking Macomb, Northern Michigan. Let me check. Macomb, latitude and longitude, right? So, Macomb, Michigan, you are, it says it's a similar latitude as Chicago. All right. So if I've got the right town, I may not, I hope I do. So it should basically be the same numbers as Chicago. It's that your time will be a little different for going out because your sunset time is a little different. St. Louis, you're a little farther south, so it's going to be a little lower in the sky. Ohio, pretty much the same as Chicago. The time will be different because of your sunset time. Again, get your sunset time, add about 45 minutes, boom, you go out and you can go out and try to find this thing. Is it visible in the evening and before dawn? It was visible in the evening and before dawn. It's going to be over the next few days and then into next week, much more easily visible in the evening. It's kind of past its dawn visibility at this point. So, but that's good because I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be able to see this thing. And now we don't have to do that. So that's a good thing. All right. Hamilton County, Indiana. You'll have to tell me, Hamilton County, if that is north or south or middle. So let us know in the chat. Where you live is surrounded by trees. What day should it be the highest around the Indianapolis area? We're talking like the 23rd to the 27th. So find yourself a safe spot. away from crowds, follow all local laws, social distance, be safe, wash your hands, all that stuff. Wear a mask if it's mandated, especially, or even if it's not, be safe. I want you all to be back here with us for the next comet. We really do. So anyway, find yourself a good spot. So it'll be like 23rd through the 27th. It'll be higher. So that might be your best set of days to go out. Okay. All right. So I'm going to check my notes here. And just a reminder, I said this before, if you happen to have it in your heart, if you want to donate to the Adler Planetarium, we surely would appreciate it. We're going to be closed for a long time. We want to keep everybody as safe as possible. So that's why we're bringing you these online programs, to be able to give you the tools and tips that you need to be able to go find this thing yourself. So I want to give you a sense of what to look for, giving you a sense of where to look, all right? Kind of a sort of brightish fuzzy thing, all right, to the northwest. And if that tree wasn't in the way right there, I'd be able to see it right now, because it is completely clear in the Chicago area right now. If you are in the Chicago area, step outside, you may be able to see it, all right? Oh, how are comets named, and how did this one get named NEOWISE? That's an excellent question. So again, car in the distance, you may hear it. Comets mostly are named for the people who discover them. There is one major exception to that. Again, car, you can hear it. Comet Halley, or Halley's Comet. Edmund Halley did not discover Halley's Comet. He was not the first person to see Halley's Comet. He was the first person to figure out that comets periodically return, that they orbit the sun. And he predicted that particular comet and when it would return. So it bears his name. There are many other comets named for people. This one is called NEOWISE, and you're like, wow, that's a really strange name. It's a name of a NASA spacecraft. So the Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, or WISE, it had a shift in its main mission, or a change, an update to its mission, and it is called NEOWISE. NEO stands for Near Earth Object. It primarily searches for objects like asteroids and comets that are supposed to come near Earth. Again, this one is not coming necessarily near to the Earth. It's not going to hit us or anything. But to date, that spacecraft has discovered 15 comets and tens of thousands of asteroids. So it imaged the comet first, and it was discovered on March 27th. So that comet was essentially discovered by NEOWISE. So it bears the spacecraft's name. Occasionally, you'll see other names. Atlas. That comet is named for, or those comets, I think it's more than one, is named for, I believe it's a telescope or a telescope array. So sometimes they're named for telescopes. The telescopes, if it's an automated telescope that takes a lot of pictures of the sky, sometimes those will discover comets. Sometimes spacecraft will discover comets. Still, sometimes people discover comets. If you discover a comet, it is named for you. Astronomical immortality. Side note, if you discover an asteroid, it is not named for you. You get to choose the name, but you can't name it after yourself. Hence, we have comets named, or asteroids named after the Beatles and National Geographic. I actually don't remember if there is one named after the Adler Planetarium. That would be a pretty cool thing for someone to find out. If you find that out, throw that in the chat. I'd love to know. All right, how long we'll be able to see the comet once it hits the horizon? So you want it to be above the horizon. And so it tonight is gonna not set until maybe closer to 11 o'clock here. So it's gonna be a little while that you'll be able to see it. Now, keep in mind, the lower it gets, the dimmer it gets. So it'll make it harder to see the lower it is in the sky. But anyway, it's going to be a little while before this thing actually sets tonight. And again, farther north, you're able to see it a little bit longer. All right, Why do comets have a tail? And by the way, I'm going to tell Colleen because she can hear me. Thank you for increasing the size of the font. She's increasing the size of the font on my screen over here. So that is fantastic. Thank you. So comets have a tail. You got the snowy dirt ball that gets close to the sun. The closer it gets to the sun, the more it heats up. The more it heats up, this material then streams away from that object, away from the sun. So comet tails essentially point away from the sun. You can have more than one tail. There is a dust tail for Comet NEOWISE. There is a gas tail. Much harder to see. I haven't seen the gas tail. I've only seen the dust tail. There have even been comets that have had up to 6 tails. Haven't seen one of those, but I do remember Comet Hale-Bopp in 1997. I saw both tails for that. That was spectacular. So comets only have tails when they get close enough to the sun to be able to get heated up enough for that material to actually stream away. That's why Comet Hale-Bopp was so amazing. We started spotting it 2 years before it got close to the sun. This comet was so large that even though it was out near Jupiter's orbit when it was discovered, it still was heating up enough to create a fuzzy cloud around it to be able to spot it. So that was an amazing comet. All right, Oklahoma, you're a little farther south than Chicago, not too much farther south. So it'll be a little bit lower in the sky. So it is a little after 9. So those of you in the Chicago area, it should be dark enough now and over the next maybe 10 minutes or so. Go north, face to the northwest, go about 40 degrees from north to the west, right? And about 18, 17, something like that degrees up. Oklahoma, you're going to be a few degrees lower than that. Okay. It also depends on your sunset time. Your sunset time is later than ours. I believe you're still in the central time zone, right? But your sunset time, it may not even be sunset there, or maybe close to it. You may have to wait a little while to be able to go out and see that thing. All right. Texas wants to know about the comet. It depends on where you are, but you're farther south, so you may not see it tonight or the next couple nights. So depends on exactly where it is. Now, are you sure? Question is being asked. I knew someone would ask. Are you sure it's not a UFO? Well, unless the aliens are disguising their spacecraft to look like comets and doing a really darn good job of it, and disguising their spacecraft to mimic materials that comets are made of, and to mimic what comets do and how comets orbit, and it's a 4-mile wide spacecraft, chances are it's not a UFO. That would be an awful lot of if. So no, it's definitely a comet and not a UFO. So how long does the average comet last? Great question. Depends on how many times it gets close to the sun and how long it takes to do that. So this comet takes, well, now almost 7,000 years to orbit the sun once. So that means this one's going to last a pretty good long time, as long as it doesn't get too close to the sun on its next trip. So if a comet gets too close to the sun, oftentimes it may break apart. That's what happened to comets Swan and Atlas earlier this year. We're kind of hoping you'd get to see those, but they totally fizzled. So the average time, if you want to put a number on it, maybe 500 trips around the sun, maybe. But it's really hard to put a number on that, because if a comet's orbit is like Comet Encke and it takes 3 years to orbit the sun versus Comet NEOWISE, this one, and that takes almost 7,000 years to orbit the sun, they're going to last different amounts of time depending on the comet. All right. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Oh, you're headed out there now. Excellent. So Cedar Rapids, Iowa is going to be very similar to Chicago. The only thing that will be different really is your sunset time. So your sunset time is going to be later than ours. You're in the central time zone. So let me check to see what the sunset time is for your location. So Cedar Rapids, and I'm typing this into my computer. So sunset in Cedar Rapids is 8:39 which means tomorrow it'll probably be about 8:38-ish. So I would go out and start to look for this thing maybe about 9:20 p.m., 9:25 tomorrow. And again, same height as Chicago. So about 20 degrees up tomorrow. So Cedar Rapids, good luck. Let us know if you see it. By the way, if anybody actually does get to see it, tell us. Please tell us if you've gotten to see it. What did it look like? Where were you? We'd love to get some viewer reports. So where would it be? South Carolina. So we were checking in with Danny in Spartanburg. So if you're anywhere close to Spartanburg, or actually anywhere in South Carolina, it's going to be about, and now I don't remember what our Spartanburg latitude was. Hang on. So Spartanburg latitude. So yeah, it's about 7 degrees farther south than Chicago. So you'll want to look about 7 degrees lower in the sky, give or take. So if it's about 20 degrees up tomorrow night in Chicago, you want to look about 12 or 13 degrees up in Spartanburg. All right. On the 23rd, when it's 37 degrees up in Chicago, you want to look about 30 degrees up in South Carolina. All right. Hope we're all getting the math right on this. Are there yearly comets? Not that I'm aware of. There could be. I'm just not aware of them. So I don't know if Comet Encke has about a 3-year orbit. I don't know if that's the smallest orbit comet. I think it is. I could be wrong about that. So that's a great question that I don't totally know the answer to. So, all right, is it possible to determine a comet's origin? Absolutely. So most of the comets out there are leftovers from the formation of the solar system. That's why we love studying them so much, because we want to get a sense of what the early solar system was like. And then you can also get a sense of the conditions this thing has experienced in its various trips around the sun. Now there has been one distinct different object that did not orbit the sun, and that is a comet called Borisov that was discovered about a year ago or so. It is an interstellar comet. It is a comet from another solar system that happened to pass through ours. So this one came in and went right back out. It was going too fast to be captured by our sun. And so it was an interstellar visitor. Again, not a UFO, not unless this thing did a great bit of disguise work, disguising itself to look like a comet. Maybe it did, you never know. The aliens could be really good at that. Or the easier answer is it was an interstellar comet. So, all right. So again, rules of thumb here. So I'm seeing lots of cities listed up on my note screen. So find your sunset time, just look it up. I just go into my browser and search sunset Chicago. And if you want to put in a date, that's cool. Go out about 45 minutes after your sunset time to look for this. As far as the height above the horizon, and the direction is going to be northwest. That's going to be northwest for everybody, okay? As far as your height, Chicago tomorrow, 20 degrees up. Look at your latitude. Look up your latitude. You can put your city name in and just put in lat and long. And your browser will give you back your town's latitude. Okay. If your latitude is 42 degrees, or 41 or 43, you're pretty much at Chicago's latitude. So 20 degrees up for you tomorrow as well. If you are farther south than Chicago, it's going to be lower in the sky. And too much farther south and you're not going to see it tomorrow. Okay. If you are higher up than Chicago, it's going to be higher for you in the sky. Okay. So the number of degrees difference. So I'm giving you the math in order to be able to try to figure this out. Too much farther south and it's going to be difficult. So if you're about In southern Florida, it's going to be really hard to spot this comet over the next few days. So New Jersey, you're at a little higher latitude, I think, than Chicago. I think not much higher, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty much about the same for you. The only difference will be sunset time. Houston, I'm going to look again for the Latin long for Houston. So we've got, you're about 12 degrees farther south than Chicago. So tonight, the comet would only be about 6 degrees above the horizon. Not impossible. I did see it at like 4 degrees up. Not impossible, but really hard. So you need a clear view right down to the horizon. So if you want to give it a try, go ahead. But on July 23rd, the comet for you will be more like 25 degrees up. So that'll be easier, all right? Again, how to find your angles in the sky. Stretch out your fists, hold it out at arm's length. The size of your fist, bottom to top, is 10 degrees, right? If you're shorter, your arm is going to be a little shorter if you're a shorter person. So if you're taller, your arm's going to be taller. It all evens out in the end. So 10, 20. Top of your fist would then be 20 degrees. So you put the bottom of your fist on the horizon, top of your fist, second on top would be 20 degrees up, okay? So next week, 20, 30, and then a little higher up for how high the comet is going to be, all right, on the around the 23rd. Okay, I'm checking to see if there's more questions. All right, I don't see any yet. Has anyone seen it? Please tell us in the chat. Please tell us. Did you just see it in Tennessee? I don't know. Did you? Please tell us. Charity, what did you see? You may have. Tell us what you saw. Give us a report. So what direction? Northwest. Northwest Tampa, Florida. Although tonight you won't see it. It's gonna be way too low for you. Give it more toward the end of next week, Tampa, in order to see it. I feel like we're in an episode if we turned Zombieland into a movie where I'm referring to you all by your town. So if you have seen the movie, you're chuckling to yourself right now, I'm sure. Do comets emit fire like in movies? Oh, hi, Maddie. No, they don't. Comets emit dust and ice and gas. So there's no fire. They usually get that wrong in the movies. So thanks, Maddie. So Neha, I hope I'm saying your name right. I apologize if I'm not. Saw it in Ohio. That is fantastic. So Donna, how late will it be visible in Chicago? Till about 11. It's going to be getting lower and lower. So try to get out in the next hour in order to see it. That'll be the best time. Again, it'll get a little higher and a little higher. All right. So will you see it in Kentucky? Boy, I hope so, Hayden. So it's a little farther, it's a little lower for you. So give it a few days and it'll get a little higher. Again, look toward the northwest, look for the Big Dipper, use our finder chart. I'm gonna put the finder chart back up because some of you may have missed it. So give me just a second, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna go back through some pictures. So forgive me, I'm going right back through my PowerPoint backwards. So just showing you some pictures of the comet in recent days, including from one of our awesome telescope volunteers, Bill Chu, who is hopefully spotting the comet from northern Indiana. So there you go. There's our comet finder chart. Take a picture of the screen, do a screenshot, or refer to this video because it'll be up on our YouTube page because this is a public link. So refer to this. Again, if you can find the Big Dipper, you can find the comet. All right. As you go farther north, all this will be higher in the sky. As you go farther south, all this will be lower in the sky. Okay. So what else could we look for while we're out comet hunting? Well, if you can find the Big Dipper, and I'm trying to look away from that work light to see if I can find the Big Dipper. And right now my eyes are so badly adjusted to the dark because of this big bright light. But the Big Dipper is that way for me. So I can look for the Big Dipper, and then I will put my cursor. Hang on, let me grab my mouse. There we go. So here's the uh, Big Dipper's bowl. Here's the handle right here. And take the two stars farthest from the handle, and they point toward Polaris, the North Star. All right. Despite the size of the dot on the screen here, Polaris is not the brightest star in the sky. So you may be surprised at how not bright it actually is. If you poke a hole in the Big Dipper and you let all the water run out, it is going to fall onto the back of Leo the lion right here. This is his head. This is his heart. This is the star called Regulus. This is his back and his back legs and his tail. That star right there is called Denebola. That is Leo's tail. All right. So hang on to this finder chart. So that should hopefully help you when you're going out to try to find the comet. All right. Okay. What is my favorite telescope? Oh, Jose says Jupiter's out in the east. Yes, Jupiter, I think, has just risen. So Jupiter is in the east, and Saturn, Jose, I know you're listening. If you could put when Saturn rises, is it about an hour later? If you could put that, that'd be great. My favorite telescope. Oh, my favorite telescope is the one that I built at the Adler Planetarium about 20 years ago. But that's a trick question, or trick answer, I should say. But my personal favorite, this is my personal one, not necessarily that of my employer. I really like just a very simple Orion, which is the brand, Dobsonian telescope, which just refers to the type of mount, a reflector. And it's just a very simple, hardworking, just plain old ordinary telescope. It's easy to set up. It's easy to move around. So if you look up Orion Dobsonian telescopes, and other manufacturers make them, that's my favorite one because I can set that one up in about 2 minutes, and then I can show people cool stuff. All right. Let's see. Oh, Saturn is also out next to Jupiter to its left. Yes. So definitely check those out. If you're not sure if you're looking at a star or a planet, stars twinkle, planets don't. All right. So check that out in the east. We know that NEOWISE won't hit Earth, but have other comets hit Earth in the past? Yes. Possibly Earth got hit by a comet in the early 1900s, maybe. Yet to quite be determined what the object was, but it was an object that exploded over the Tunguska region of Siberia. So look up the Tunguska, and you kind of spell it like it sounds. Look up that, and you'll see pictures of trees blown down, and those pictures were taken like 20 years after this happened, and it still had trees that were blown down from that comet impact. But yes, Earth absolutely has gotten hit by comets in the past, but they're not very dense. They tend to explode before they hit the ground, and Earth is 70% water, so we could get hit by a comet. It could fall in the water. So so yeah, it doesn't happen often, but it definitely has happened in the past. All right. So, is it possible to land a craft on a comet? Oh, my silly parents. Yes, it is. And we did that. Actually, the European Space Agency did that. Look up the Rosetta mission, and you will see awesome pictures taken from a spacecraft that orbited a comet. And then when it was done with its mission, um, uh, it it basically had a piece of the spacecraft that was designed to land on the comet. Sorry, not when it was done with its mission. There was a piece that was designed to land. It didn't last long, but it did take a picture from the surface. So yes, it is possible. It is hard, but it's possible. So that has definitely happened in the past. All right. Electro says, so say by July 23rd, NEOWISE will be easier to see because it will be higher on the horizon. Yes, you got it. That's exactly right. It's going to get higher in the sky, so that'll make it easier to see by the 23rd. So keep going, and toward the 23rd, and it'll get higher and higher. All right, so there we go. And yep, and Christopher is exactly right, and it's at its closest to the Earth at that point. So my goodness, I have gone 24 minutes past when I thought I was going to. I will So I will keep answering questions as long as you want to stick around. Well, within reason. I know we all have to head off to bed at some point soon. So if we have a few more questions, can you see the comet from Myanmar? Let me check. I want to say that that might be a little far south. I'm checking Myanmar, so hold on. So let's see. Myanmar is at about 22 degrees north, give or take. And so right now at night, the comet for you is like right at the horizon. But by the 23rd to the 27th, somewhere around there, it will be probably about 15 degrees up. So if you've got some dark skies there, you might have a chance of seeing it. So yeah, that wasn't quite as far south as I thought. So your Myanmar latitude is probably similar to, it's close to southern Florida. It's a little farther south than southern Florida. So yeah, give it a try, Myanmar, and let us know if you see it. All right, but you might have to wait till more like the end of next week in order to do it. Paul wants to know what the difference is between a comet and an asteroid. And have a nice day to our friend in Myanmar. Thanks for joining us. A difference between a comet and an asteroid, there's actually a continuum. Comets are mostly ice and some rock and dust and stuff mixed in. Asteroids are mostly rock and metal and dust, and with possibly some ice mixed in. We do have some asteroids that act like comets, where they give off some material. So these are called active asteroids. And one of my colleagues at the Adler, Dr. Geza is interested in active asteroids. So yeah, you can have asteroids that sometimes act like a little bit like comets. So, oh, let's see. Can you see the comet from New York City? Well, it depends on which part of New York you're in. You've got a lot of buildings. You probably got a lot of tall trees. So I would give it maybe more toward the beginning of next week, but yes, you should be able to see it. It just depends on the brightness condition that you're in, your light pollution. It will help to use a pair of binoculars. So give that a whirl. Let us know in New York if you see it, okay? What websites do you use for this space stuff? Oh my goodness, so many. I personally like spaceweather.com. There is a great gallery of pictures that people have taken of the comet. So that gives me inspiration for taking some pictures. NASA.gov, of course. And after that, it kind of depends on what I want to know about. So there is, there's a variety of NASA websites. The science.nasa.gov is usually a really good one to go to. Some pretty comprehensive stuff there. So I would give I would start with those few. And if other people have suggestions for websites, please put them in the chat. This is a community. This isn't just me talking with all you guys. So talk to each other and give some recommendations out there. I know several of you have some. So give it a try. Throw it in there. All right. Yeah, free life. I know you've got so much light pollution, but yours is not much worse than Chicago. So we have some of the worst in the world for light pollution. And New York is right up there too. So I know people have seen it from Chicago. So give yourself a view low enough to the horizon. Give it a try. You just might surprise yourself. You might see it. All right. So give that a try. You might not see it from like Times Square. That would not be good. But maybe out towards some of the boroughs, the other boroughs. And where you've got some lower buildings, if you've got a rooftop to go to safely, that might be a possibility. So Charlotte, North Carolina. All right. Let me see. Let me check your latitude. All right, Charlotte, you are 35 degrees north. So any numbers that I've given, so 18 degrees tonight, go lower about 7 degrees. And that's where you'd be looking tonight. It's probably about 10 degrees above your horizon right now. And then it'll get a little higher as the days go on. So yeah, yours is going to be a little lower than in Chicago. Not much lower, but a little bit lower. So free life, you said, yeah. Well, try with your eyes if you know someone who's got a pair of binoculars and can get you a pair of binoculars safely. If you've got a pair of binoculars, that's really all you need. Fancy telescopes, you don't need those for comets. They're too big. They're too extended. They don't really photograph all that well in a telescope. So nope, don't need a telescope. Just need your eyeballs, and just a simple, small pair of binoculars is really all you need. So give that a try. All right. And let's see. I'm checking to make sure. There we go. So my broadcast just paused for a second. There we go. So hello from South Texas. Hi, South Texas. Glad you're here. So I'm just looking over at my other screen over here. In Los Angeles, let's see. Again, you're gonna have the same problem as Chicago and New York with that light pollution. It's pretty bad. Los Angeles, I'm looking up your latitude and longitude. So yeah, you're basically like Charlotte. You're about 34 degrees north latitude. So sunset in Los Angeles is 8:04. Cool. All right. So you will go out maybe about 8:45, closer to 9 in your location, and look maybe 12 degrees up above the horizon tonight. You might see it. Let us know. By the way, if anybody happens to see it, if you go away and you want to tell us you saw it, go to the Adler Planetarium's social media feeds. You can go to @AdlerPlanet on Instagram, or sorry, yeah, @AdlerPlanet on Instagram, @AdlerPlanet on Twitter, Adler Planetarium on Facebook. If you want to tag your description or a photo or anything like that, just tag it with "look up," and that will help us find your report on what you've actually seen. But it sounds like some of you have seen it, which is great. So East Central Illinois, can't see anything right now. So Peyton, is it clear? Is it clear in East Central Illinois right now? So I'm not sure if you've got some clouds down there. So give that a. So we've got if you have some clouds down there, that may make it a little tough. If the sky's a little hazy. So I'm not sure what you guys. Yeah, a few scattered clouds, that'll make it harder. So if you've got a few scattered clouds, they may look relatively open above you, but the more you get down to the horizon, those openings will be smaller. So that'll make it a little harder. Tomorrow night, East Central Illinois, you might see it a little better. There might be a little bit more breaks in the clouds tomorrow night. So give that a try. All right. You're welcome, Peyton. Okay, so all right, last chance, everybody. I've been keeping an eye on the chat, and you've got some great questions. I love the interaction. I can't be with you in person, but I hope this has given you some tools for what to expect when you're taking a look at this comet. I'm going to look over on my other computer here real quick and just make sure that everything's looking okay. So I'm going to do one quick thing here. Oh, Huntsville, Alabama, one of my very favorite places in all the world. Haven't been there in a very long time, but I attended Space Academy level 1 and 2 when I was in high school. So I love Huntsville. Soft spot in my heart for that place. Um, and Huntsville, let me look up your latitude. I'm just going to one quick thing here on my computer, so give me just a sec. I'm doing all my production work myself. Again, that's why I'm outside in my backyard. So, all right, give me just a sec, Huntsville. I'll look you up in just a sec. All right. And, all right, here we go. Huntsville. And Huntsville latitude, same as like Charlotte and LA, about 35 degrees north. So whatever numbers I've given tonight, subtract about 7 degrees. There you go. So a little bit lower in the sky for you. So it should be visible in the sky right now, but pretty low. It'll get better over the next few days. So it'll get higher in the sky. All right. I now have a variety of bug creatures starting to check out my computer and my really bright light. So I'm thinking the natural world is telling me we need to wrap up for tonight. Oh, Portland, Oregon. Oh, but it's been cloudy in the morning, but you want to go out at night. So go out after sunset, Portland, and because this is more gonna be more easily visible in the early evening at this point. The comet has moved its position, so give that a try. Oh, Chicago suburbs, Northeast Illinois. Couldn't see anything. Well, it might be because it was a little bit hazy tonight, but it should be a little bit better tomorrow. So anytime you get over the next week and a half, you see a clear sky to the northwest, you get yourselves out there, get your binoculars out, and go try to find that fuzzy thing in the sky. All right. Oh, Janice, thank you. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thanks for joining us tonight. And all right. Oh, we've got someone in Cyprus. Well, couldn't see it, but keep trying, Cyprus. Keep trying. Got those clouds, but you got to admit it's a beautiful place to be, even if you're going to be stuck someplace with clouds, right? So it can't be too bad. All right. How long can we see the comet? All right, Free Life in New York City, you get the last question. How long we should see it, we don't know. It depends on how bright it stays, and it'll probably get dimmer at least after the 23rd, which is its closest point to Earth, 64 million miles away. But it could get a little dimmer between now and then. It'll probably get dimmer after that. We would imagine a comet like that, when it gets farther from the sun, it's not going to stay bright. So our best chance to see it is over like the next week and a half. So, but anything after that is gravy, like, right? Icing on the cake. So if we get to see it past that, we're doing really well. So, all right. Oh, Jose, no luck. Some clouds. Yeah, it cleared up here in the far western suburbs pretty nicely, except for the tree. So, but I've got a space in between that tree and that tree. So I'm hoping for our program on the 23rd, I'm hoping I can show you an actual picture. I just need for the weather to cooperate. So we'll see. Anyway, we are going to be back here tomorrow night at 8:30. Everyone who was on tonight, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to join us again and tell us if you got a chance to see it, or if you've made plans to see it, or if it was too cloudy in your area, just let us know. We would love to have you back. And then we're going to be back here. Sorry, that was 8:30 p.m. Central tomorrow night, youtube.com/Adler Planetarium. And then we'll be back on the 23rd at 8:30 for enjoying the comet getting its closest point to Earth on that day. So we're going to celebrate that a little bit. So I'll be back. It's me and my computers and my phone and the really bright work light and a couple cameras and the critters and the cars and the music and everything else that I've got around here. Hope you didn't mind any of the technical issues. Hope you don't mind seeing my completely overexposed face on the camera. Hope you enjoyed this. This was certainly a lot of fun for me. Stay safe, everyone. Be well. If there's any question we didn't get to, Colleen will alert me to that, and we can hopefully answer your question via social media over the next few days. So if you think of any other questions, again, tag look up with your observations or photos. We'd love to see them. And join us on social media at Adler Planet on Instagram, at Adler Planet on Twitter, at Adler Planetarium on Facebook. So thank you for attending. If you would love to make a donation to the Adler Planetarium, we sincerely would appreciate it. Colleen has put links to that into the chat. Otherwise, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night.